And so I grew up hating insurance companies. I had a deep hatred and still have a deep dislike of insurance companies. So I grew up with hearing about that. And then I grew up wanting to do justice for people. And when I decided that I couldn't do it and make enough money as a prosecutor, which is really what I wanted to be, is to be a prosecutor, I just decided to be a civil prosecutor. So suing insurance companies just makes me happy. If I can take money from these people and give them to people that need money, then I'm a very, very happy person.
Welcome back to Harry Handles It. I'm your host, Harry Nalbandyan. Now, if you know me, you know I love what I do. I love helping people, and honestly, I don't mind a good fight when you need to. But today's guest might love the fight even more than I do. Back in high school, this guy beat a traffic ticket, and the judge was so impressed, pulled him aside to her chambers and said, "You gotta become a trial attorney." He took that advice and ran with it. For over 35 years, he's acted as a true warrior in that capacity, helping those who couldn't help themselves against corporations and big companies. He's the founder of LaBovick Law Firm, a multi-state litigator, a philosopher by trade, and a man who treats his clients like family and friends. Please welcome Brian LaBovick to the podcast. Welcome, Brian.
Absolutely.
I want to jump right into this and get started. We all have the stories of our why and kind of what sparked our interest in, doing the work that we do and helping these people. But I want to hear a little bit about your story. I know a little bit of the background, but I want to hear it from the man himself.
So the background, it's been a long time coming, right? My desire to be a lawyer, to be a trial lawyer, started really young. I've got two best friends growing up in high school. One of them convinced me that we both had to be doctors because it was the path to riches. And he's like, "You got to be a doctor. You got to be a doctor." So I'm taking as many science-oriented classes in school as I can. And I was a junior in high school at the time. And I was working out downtown at Gold's Gym. So I'd have to drive downtown to Gold's Gym every day. And believe it or not, I had an afro out to here, like I had this big fro of hair, and I had a bandana around my head. So I looked like a Chicano with a background, and I just looked like a punk kid, basically. And I was coming home after working out, so I'm all sweaty. And I made a right turn on red, which was permitted in Ohio where I grew up. But there was a sign that was kind of in a weird spot that said no right turn on red. And I saw it late. So I'd started to make it. I stopped and I backed up. And I had a couple of cops that pulled beside me, looked at me, and they were like, "What's going on with this kid?" And so they pulled me over and they gave me a ticket for running a right on red, even though I stopped, backed up, blah, blah, blah. So I decided to challenge the ticket. And so I go to court, right? And I go to court and my dad and mom are with me. And my dad was downtown for business. And so he stopped in. My mom was there really is who I was with. And my dad just sat down for a little bit. And this woman came over and said, "Hey, I'm the prosecutor on the case." And I was like, "The prosecutor? What are you talking about prosecutor? It's a traffic ticket." She's like, "Well, in Ohio, we have a prosecutor. You have a full trial if you want a trial. And you asked for a trial." And I was like, "I need a lawyer, Dad." And my dad's like, "You're not getting a lawyer for a traffic ticket. And I'm out of here. Good luck to you." So he leaves. My mom and I go in and we start a trial basically, right? So the judge reads us, this is what a trial's about. And first thing that's going to happen is opening statements. And so the prosecutor went first and she started talking and I was like, "Stop, this is wrong. She's wrong." And the judge is like, female judge. She's like, "Sit down. You'll have your chance." So I sat down, I'm waiting. She gets to me. I don't remember what I said. I probably was like, "Judge, she had it wrong. This is what happened," and blah, blah, blah. So I said what happened. And they go, "Okay, well, call your first witness," to the prosecutor. So she calls the first officer and he starts talking about the case. This is what his name is, what he does, this is what happened. And I was like, "That's wrong too. This guy he's telling what's not right. This isn't right." And she goes, "You'll have your chance to question him. Just relax." I said, "All right." So I said, "Give me a pad of paper." And my mom gave me a pad of paper and I started writing questions down. And I just started writing my cross-examination down because I knew what I wanted to ask him. And I got up and in a flurry of cross-examination leading questions, I led this guy into saying, "Well, the sign is out of place. It's a little bit over here because, And I was like, "So the sign's out of place. Is that correct?" And he's like, "That's correct." And I thought, that's probably pretty good. That's probably the best I'm going to do. So I sat down. And then she called the next guy. I got him to admit it was out of place. I sat down. I said, "The other guy said it was out of place. You'd agree with that, wouldn't you?" Blah, blah, blah. It's like, "Yes, I would." Okay. So sit down. She gives her closing. I give my closing. And the judge is like, "I have reasonable doubt that this thing is a good traffic ticket. I'm going to throw it out. You're not guilty. And I want to see you back in chambers." So my mom and I go back into chambers with the judge. And she says, "What are you going to be?" And I'm like, I'm studying to be a doctor. Like I'm in high school. I'm taking physiology, AP chemistry, AP biology. She's like, you're not going to be a doctor, my friend. You are going to be a trial lawyer. And from
Nice.
that moment on, I had it in my head, man, I needed to be back in that courtroom. And so I just had it from the time I was a junior in high school. I'm 17 years old, 16 years old, something like that. And I just wanted to do that all my life. Like that's all I wanted to do.
I love it, man. What a great story.
Yeah.
So
So, you get done and I wanted to be a prosecutor. And so I went through law school. I joined every competition that there was at So I was at Miami Law School. I joined like negotiations, mock trial, moot court, anything there was. I wanted to compete at it. I graduated one of two people order the barrister, which is the people that are, the most into trial law. And, uh, and I got a job with the Justice Department, honors grad at the Justice Department, which is kind of an honorable, like a very nice kind of high level perspective to get to work at the U.S. Attorney's Office. Right out of law school, not very many people get to do that. You usually have to work for a while first. And that was awesome. And I did that for a couple of years. My wife had a great job with Janet Reno as a state prosecutor. So she was trying all these great cases. Everything I did was, hard and big. And so there weren't many trials comparative to the state system. I was really jealous of the state system prosecutors because they were trying a case every single day. But yeah, so we tried a lot of cases, had a lot of fun, and that's what we've been doing.
that's awesome, man. What a great origin story. When did you? I know you and your wife work together now, right?
Yeah, we've
When,
we've
when
been
did that
together
happen?
since our first year in law school. We met in our first year in law school. I was trying to fix my roommate up with her. I had a girlfriend. So I had a woman that I was very, very close with in college, and she graduated a year ahead of me. And then I graduated, and then I started law school in Miami, and she moved to Miami. So we both landed in Miami as very good friends, and then we started dating. And I thought I was going to marry her because we really got along well. And it was a really good thing, right? So I had this other woman in my class, Esther, and my roommate, who was in a different section, was just completely like, she's the most beautiful thing. I want to go out with Esther, blah, blah, blah. So I'm flirting with Esther, trying to get her to go out with my roommate, and so that didn't work out. And so when that didn't work out, and then my
Not his
relationship fell
favor,
apart,
yours.
yeah, his thing didn't work out, and then my thing that I thought was going to work out didn't work out, and then I was like, I'm going to go out with Esther, and he was like, sure, go ahead, because he didn't want to. At that point, it just didn't work out. So
What a
I
beautiful
ended
story,
up with
man.
her first year, and we have not been separate much since then. Honestly, like took all the same classes. We both were prosecutors. We lived together 24/7. We travel together. We work together. We go to. It's just yeah, we're together a
Yeah.
lot. It's a
Good
good team.
partners. Good partners
Yeah,
for
it's
sure.
just we have a good thing. It's like really, really close friends and really, really good, parents together. And yeah, we've had a good run.
And when you started your practice, did you start it together or did she join sometime afterwards? How did
No,
that
she
work?
joined it 3 years afterwards, I guess. Three, almost 4 years afterwards. So I came out of the prosecutor's office and, keep in mind, you don't get paid like to work. It's a great experience, but it's not lucrative. So I left my job at the prosecutor's office and I started the practice. And then she, 2 years later, so she stayed as a prosecutor for 2 years and we lived off of our small amount of money for 2 years. And then she left and worked for a year and a half, almost 2 years for the Council on Compensation Insurance, the National Council, NCCI, doing major big fraud claims, like major work comp, big fraud claims nationally, trucking companies and all sorts of shit. So she was doing that for a couple of years. And the practice kind of just like took off. And I was like, I got to hire an associate. And she was like, no, I'll come to work. Like, don't hire an associate. So she joined then.
What was like when you started your practice? What was the primary focus? Was it always personal injury
The door
or like
law
did it
focus, like
evolve?
all young lawyers, we were like young and starving. And if you had any legal matter at all, I was willing to make it better for you.
Nice.
Yeah, like, what are you gonna do? Some people would come in with the craziest things. I sued people and gave counsel to people and took on cases I never should have. I had a case where one guy was suing his upstairs neighbor because he used glue instead of cork on his wood flooring, and the guy had a prostate problem, so he was getting up like 8 times a night to pee, and so he would wake his neighbor about it. So I had a whole like "wake me up because you pee" lawsuit. I sued. I did. We did a case. It's so funny. We did a divorce when we were doing divorces. Like what walks in, divorce walks in, right? I became a very good divorce lawyer very quickly. So one of our first two cases that I still laugh about with my opposing counsel, who I'm still friends with today, was a case where we were in the middle of depositions. And then at one point, one person says, well, he's a witch and that's why he does that. And I was like, what are you talking about? A witch? What do you mean? Yeah, he thinks he's a witch. He thinks he has magic powers and he's got a little man in a ball and he can send him out to hurt people. And he goes to magic spell parties and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, 1 minute. We go outside. I'm like, I got to talk to my client. Do you think you're a witch? He goes, of course I'm a witch. And she's a witch. So I don't know why she's saying like, we're both in the coven together. You're both in the coven? Are you serious? Like this is the divorce of the witches? He's like, yeah, this is the divorce of the witches. This is God's truth. We went through this, the craziest, like one time one guy came in all purple robes with stars on his hat, like Merlin the magician. We like the depots were crazy, right? It was set for trial. Honest to God, it was set for trial on October 31, Halloween, in front of Judge Virginia Broom. So I'm trying my witch's trial to a
if you
woman
wanted
named
this to happen.
Broom. We thought it would be Armageddon, so we settled the case on the Friday before that trial went up.
Yeah, that's when everything
we're
aligns.
We're holding Armageddon trial. That's it. We're out.
That's actually a great story. And if you want to make that situation up, you can't. You know, you randomly get assigned to Judge Broom with the trial date on Halloween. That's classic.
You cannot. That's been one of the funniest stories that we've had. So yeah, we've had a lot of funny things, but pretty early on, I knew a couple of things. So I grew up in a house where my dad was an insurance agent, right? And my dad was a pretty happy-go-lucky guy, hardworking guy, and but kind of a strict, old school guy. You know, like corporal punishment, physical punishment in my house was a normal thing growing up. I don't think that it would be normal in today's world, but in my world, it was not a big deal. And
different times.
And so I would listen for him. And if he wasn't whistling when he came home in the garage, he would like park the car, you'd hear him whistling. If he was whistling, I was safe. If he wasn't whistling, I had to get out the back door and go hang out at Mark's house until he like had a decompression moment. So, and the reason that he would go crazy, like the thing that drove him craziest and that I would hear about is where he would sell a farmer or a plumber, or he didn't sell like high-end insurance policies. He sold life and health policies to like normal folks, farmers in Ohio. We lived in a farming community. And so he would sell a wife and a husband a policy. And if the husband died, heart attack or some cancer or something, within 2 years, within the contestability period, the insurance company inevitably would try to find a way out. And if anything that they put on that application was 1 period off, they would try to cancel the policy. And they would screw the family. And it hurt him to have those things happen. And I heard about that. I heard about how upset it would make him and how the insurance company would just try to screw people. And so he's selling this product because he's trying to keep people safe and give them a retirement and give them something to invest in, because he believed that people just didn't have the capacity to discipline themselves to save in a stock fund or save in a 401k. If the company didn't give it to you, it's very hard to do. So if you forced yourself into it through an insurance payment, you could insure the life of yourself and keep your family safe and have a savings account that you would pay you off in retirement, which he thought was just the best idea ever. And when it didn't come true for people, it really hurt him. And so I grew up hating insurance companies. I had a deep hatred and still have a deep dislike of insurance companies. So I grew up with hearing about that. And then I grew up wanting to do justice for people. And when I decided that I couldn't do it and make enough money as a prosecutor, which is really what I wanted to be, is to be a prosecutor, I just decided to be a civil prosecutor. So suing insurance companies just makes me happy. If I can take money from these people and give them to people that need money, then I'm a very, very happy person. I feel very justified. I love what I do. And so that's why I picked being a PI lawyer.
I love that story, man. And, you know, you can feel it when somebody loves, especially this kind of work. It's not the easiest. Sometimes the work we do isn't physically laborious. I mean, if you're in trial standing up all day, it's whatever. But the work we do has risks in it for people, real people, to have the opportunity to lose, you know, every chance they had at closure. You know, the ability to recover for that insurance policy that was supposed to pay them the premiums, but that don't. So when did you realize that was, you know, going to be the sole focus of the firm?
I knew that I wanted to make it the sole focus of the firm pretty early on. When I came out of the prosecutor's office, I was hired by a personal injury lawyer. I don't want to say a trial lawyer, a personal injury lawyer who was not a trial lawyer. He was a settlement lawyer. He would bring in 100 PI cases a month and he would settle all of them. And if he couldn't settle all of them, he would refer the one out that had needed to go to court, right? And so he brought me in to just give me those cases and let me try cases. So my first job as a non-prosecutor, but in the PI in the civil world, was trying the cases for this guy who was afraid of court, literally scared of court. I was so sick one day, like I was like, I call it the poop and pukes. Like I could not like get out of bed. And I called him and I said, "Hey, Robert, I've got an agreed motion. It's an agreed order. Just walk it into the judge. Say, my associate said this is an agreed order. He needs you to sign it. Both sides have agreed on the language. I just need a judge's signature." He goes, "I can't do it." I was like, "What do you mean you can't do it? Like, you can do it. You're a licensed lawyer. Just walk in, hand it to the guy. It's all done. I cannot get out of bed." He's like, "You must get out of bed. I cannot go into court. I will faint before I go into court." I was like, "Okay." So I dragged my butt out of bed and went to the court and got that done. But yeah, that was the guy that I was working for right up front when I came out, and he had me start my own company because he was like, "I don't want employees. I just want you to, I'll give them to you. You do them. We'll split the fee." And so I started trying cases for people like right up front.
Nice.
And that's how
Nice.
I kind of fell into it. But then, of course, when I moved from Miami, which is where he was, to Jupiter, and he and I did not part, unfortunately, well. But when I moved to Jupiter, I bought a practice from a guy, and he was selling it as like PI practice for sale. He had 33 cases, one personal injury case, 32 loser, crazy, nothing crazy cases. So I had to pick up the practice from there. But
Nice, man.
so we just did door law, like I didn't know that it worked, by the way. At the time, Yellow Pages worked. So Yellow Pages was the king. Like Yellow Pages, I didn't know it, but he had a Yellow Page ad, this guy. And so I had to buy into the practice, came with the Yellow Page ad. And people would call, "How'd you find me?" "Yellow Pages." "How'd you find me?" "Yellow Pages." "How'd you find me?" "Yellow Pages." I was like, let's expand the Yellow Pages. So we started advertising Yellow Pages. I did that for years. And I just went from like little ad to big ad to two ads to ads in multiple books to the back page.
So
It
yeah,
just worked.
your legal marketing journey started way early on, like when Yellow Pages was
Well,
kind of
I'm
the only app.
freaking old, dude. I am an old
Come
man.
on, man. You don't look it, so you have the
Bald,
experience with the Yellow
bald,
Pages.
no gray. That's when
That
it
looks
helps
good.
out.
I'm taking notes. Don't worry.
Yeah.
So from the Yellow
I
Pages,
don't
like
think you're
how did
going
your
bald
legal?
there, Harry. Harry, you look like the kind of guy who's keeping that beautiful head of hair for a long time.
We'll see, man. Well, you never know.
Never know. I didn't think I was going bald either when I was 18 and I had hair out to here. So
Yeah, the afro, right?
yeah, that was big back then.
Yeah, especially in the bodybuilding scene. I can just
Yeah.
imagine, So just going back to the legal marketing, like how did your practice in the marketing evolve over the years? I mean, Yellow Pages was great, but then came
Yeah, it
TV,
did
then
that.
came other stuff, then came the internet.
Yeah, and it's so funny. I was just doing Yellow Pages and pretty happy with that. And then in the late 1990s, early 2000s, and I don't know the exact year, John Morgan held a seminar in Miami. It was after it was Morgan's Calling in Gilbert at the time. And so he was doing that, and he and Mike Papantonio, I think, were doing cigarette cases also. They were involved in the cigarette cases. And they came down to talk about advertising and how, advertising was the future and you should be on TV and you should be on. And they both had this, like thing that they talked about, this practice made perfect system. And then it turns out that John had an entire advertising company that he owned, and he invited everybody that was in that seminar up to see his operation. And at the time, his operation was state of the art. I mean, and still is, honestly. I mean, John Morgan runs the best run mass firm that you could it's a machine, right? And so not without its problems, I'm sure, but from the outside looking in at the scaling and what he's done scaling it wise, I'm totally in awe. But so he came in and he was like, "If you guys want to come up and look at what I've done, I'll teach you like how to run intake and how to do your advertising and how to contract with people and what to do and when to do your meetings." And I didn't know any of that stuff, It was just all by the seat of my pants. So I immediately went up. Bob Gordon went up. I went up. Craig Golden, I don't know, maybe Craig went up. Fetterman went up. Like every advertiser and PI lawyer of any significance in my community went up there. And when we were up there, he said, "Hey, I'm looking for one law firm to be my law firm to let me do their advertising for them. I'll take 15% of your budget. I'll buy all your leads. I'll do your ads. I'll do all that for you." And I was like, "I'm in, like, sign me up." And he goes, "Well, I need to pick between you and the other guys. Everybody wants to do it. So what can you invest into advertising this year and at the time I was paying, I think, $600 a month to my Yellow Page ad. That was the full bucket of marketing dollars that I had.
Nice.
And maybe an occasional maybe like $30 a month for lunches. I don't know. Like it was like nothing. We had no money. And I was like, well, I have $82,000 of equity in my home that I will leverage to give it to you. And he goes, well, Bob Gordon just settled a case for $1 million. He's getting $400,000 and he's going to give me that. Like, what do you want me to do? I was like, I want you to pick me because I'm going to be really good. And he goes, no, I'm picking Bob. So they started off advertising with him about 3 or 4 years before I ever had an ad budget. And I would say I chased them in the advertising scene for 10 years, maybe 15 years before I ever caught them because of that lead. Like Gordon and Partners for years was the dominant voice with Stanger, Green, and Finer in my market. The two of them like really dominated and they got out 3 or 4 years ahead of me. And then after that, I was third place, fifth place, sixth place, fourth place, third place, ninth place. Like people
Playing
jumped
catch up.
in. I never really caught up. Like it's amazing how getting in strong first really helped.
Yeah, I mean, the market dominance, right? The first one to
Yeah.
take a bite at the
First
apple.
in and go strong. And yeah. And now John has so in that deal, he said, as long as you guys use my company, I won't come to your market. And so he didn't come to our market for 20 years. Like he was not in the Palm Beach County market. It was from Boca de Vero is our DMA. It's Palm Beach County and Treasure Coast. And Morgan wasn't in my market for years and years. And he was trying to buy Adam and Bob out, you know. And he would come to them and say, "Hey, can I get it?" Like, and they were like, "Nope, nope, we made a deal." And so he lived with it until he sold Practice Made Perfect, the marketing company. And once he sold it and said, now I'm not your marketing company anymore, our deal's off, I'm coming to your market. So now he's in my
Interesting.
market. And he came in, and my budget for TV at the time, and I think I was a third place guy between Stanger and Gordon and then me. And we were probably spending 180,000 a month in TV, which maybe in some markets is huge and in some markets is tiny. We're kind of like moderate. And he
Yeah.
came in after like penetrating the market with billboards everywhere at like 700,000 a month.
Wow.
So I
Just
was
yeah,
like,
just
I got
take all the
blown out.
stuff.
Like I've been fighting against the $700 $700,000 a month. And then Sanger upped his ante to like 400 something a month. And then Bob Gordon was like, I'm out. He like dropped out of 60. He's like, I got market share. I don't need to do this anymore. And Craig Goldenfarb went down. I think they went to the internet. People started moving to the internet. So it seems like the internet's the play now anyways. Things keep shifting. Not completely. People keep thinking that TV's dead. TV's not dead, but it's getting less and
Yeah,
less
people's
dominant.
attention is just not all on TV. You know, people's attention is on their phones, is on the computers, is on the internet. So you just got to be where the attention's going to be. And
Yeah.
it seems
Where
like
are you going to find
at the
eyes?
beginning, Yellow Pages, and then TV, radio. Now we just have more options to choose from, and more places to put your ad budgets to. That's wild.
Yeah. So one of the things that we learned very early on was in my, and I learned this from a guy that, crazy guy, but he was like, you have to give to get. You have to give to get. So being generous gets you a lot of goodness that comes back into your life. Like you put out into the world, it comes back to you. So give to get. And so we are very into our marketing community service oriented wise. So we're constantly out in our community locally to try to let the community know that we care about it, that we have our mission and that we're here for them. Hopefully they'll come to us when they need us, right? Which is what you see on my shirt now. So now the branding that I'm wearing is this thing Safety for Life,
Yeah.
which is a charitable organization, foundation that we started in Palm Beach County and the law firm. And what Safety for Life does is that it does all of the traffic safety education for high school students across the county. So we go in and we do safety presentations, we do assemblies, and then we do these spectacular crash reenactments for the kids where we have the kids out on a football field and it's like a play almost. And they have crashed cars and they have a dead kid on the side and they've got kids being tested for DUI and the cops roll in and the ambulances roll in and Life Flight comes in and they cut the top of the car off with jaws of life and they pull people out and they fly them away. And then we narrate it all about what this is about.
Yeah.
And we have done so well with touching those kids in a way that makes them understand the dangers, emotionally getting
Yeah.
to them is, and it's very rewarding and it's also wonderful for the firm. So that's kind of our newest iteration of marketing is making sure that people know this is what we do for the community and we're here for you.
That's beautiful, man. So you started a different nonprofit that's focused on that education portion. Like different
Yes.
people run that. Oh, interesting.
Yeah. And imagine the connectivity I have with the police officers who come and do
Yeah.
that, the ambulance drivers that come and do that, the life flight drivers that come and do that, the nurses, the prosecutors. We get prosecutors come and talk about DUIs. So it's a really great community connection at the highest level. And then we get great things happening at the governmental level. So we've had kids get proclamations, safety for life proclamations for the day. Like the city of Wellington does a city of a safety for life day, you know, and a proclamation that today is Safety for Life Day, and the kids who participate in this. So in all the high schools, we have Safety for Life clubs. So you can join the club, you get community service hours for being a part of it, and you talk about traffic safety. We were talking about police interaction safety for a while, teaching kids not to be afraid of the police, that the police are here to serve and protect, and that the three terrible YouTube videos that you see are not to be trusted. Like, don't think that the police are all out hurting people. That's not most of the police. 99.9% of the police are here to do the two missions of the police: to serve and protect. So we try to do that. We do drowning prevention. We do internet safety. We do human trafficking safety. So we've done a lot of that in the past, but predominantly we focus on traffic.
That's the real life give before you get
Yeah,
example right there. Right? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. And my wife is
Well,
amazing. So my wife has always been the community service woman. She's been involved in the Science Museum Board, the Zoo Board. She was president of the Junior League of the Palm Beaches. She was president of Pace Center. She's the chairman of the board for the Pace Center for Girls, at-risk girls school in our county. Very involved with that. So she's very involved in the community also on top of doing this.
wow. Was it a big lift to get that started?
It was a
Yeah.
big lift, and it's a big financial lift, honestly. We've put, I mean, in 6 years, we probably put almost $1 million into it.
Yeah. I mean, to have that production with the cars, the jaws of life, come together, that's not cheap.
Yeah, most of that is actually volunteered. Like,
That's
the
really
the
cool.
real the real problem is that you have to pay people to work, right? So you need
Yeah.
an executive director. That's a high-level person to run it. So we have an executive director, they get paid, and you have people that come in and do the events that need to be paid. They need to be paid. But almost all of that stuff, like Jaws of Life, fire rescue, all those people, even the cars, the tow companies that we work with give
Yeah.
us crashed
Uh,
cars. They bring them to the scene, they take them, they don't charge us. So it's all very community. I mean, it's awesome.
yeah. That's amazing. Great idea. Thanks for sharing that.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
I keep telling people, if you want to do this, let me know. I will teach you how to do it in your community. Like, I'm not trying to keep this, not a closely held secret. I think I do something really good, and I would love to see it expand. I would love to be able to bring it to other communities. I haven't figured out how to really monetize it. So it's really just community service. I don't make money from it. I do
Yeah.
get business from it, which is nice, but
Yeah.
it's a secondary effect. You still have to love doing it, or else it doesn't make sense.
Yeah. And that mission is very wholesome. You know what I mean? Especially for the kids. So how I mean, over the years, your law firm structure has changed, right? You've used the different case management systems. You've had different evolutions in how the practices run. What's been the most challenging in those times of change that you found to overcome?
So I think the hardest change for me has been managing people in the change management system, moving into things that are more advanced. So when you're a solo practitioner, right, it's like riding a motorcycle. You can stop fast, change directions fast, speed up real fast, make a right turn. No, I want to go in that direction. No, I want to sue for this. No, I want to sue. Like, you can go fast in every direction, right? And then when you get a couple employees, you're like a big station wagon, and you can still make turns like a car and stuff, but it's a little slower. You got more people in the car, you got a little inertia, like it's a little harder. And then when you get to a certain level, you no longer driving a car, you're driving a boat, and then you're driving an ocean liner. You got this big, fat, slow boat that you're trying to turn twice, and it's getting people to change is really hard. And simultaneous with that, the methodologies of running a successful law practice are changing rapidly, right? So I've got this big machine that I'm trying to change, and the changes of life and the way we practice are going faster, not slower. So finding the new
Right.
case management system, finding the new methodology to get mail into the case management system, finding the new telephony system, finding the new system, that the AI system that wants to talk the robot, understanding how all the lead chases go, bringing in the leads, doing the LSAs, doing the PPCs, doing all of that, just the amount of change and the speed of things while trying to keep a big ship moving into those changes has been incredibly difficult. that's been my hardest thing is the people, because I like to keep up with all the technology. I think all the technology is really cool. I got onto Claude Code, which is
Nice.
not, if anybody knows how to code, I don't know how to code. I don't know anything about code. But I got into Claude Code. I set up a sandbox computer because I wanted to play with it without messing up my entire system. And so on my own personal Yahoo account, because that's how old I am, I had still have an email with Yahoo. I set up a Claude Code, and I have a little program that I did all by myself that goes into my inbox and manages all of my emails so that I know what to read and what not to read. And it makes mistakes, but then I can code it to stop making those mistakes. So I can, I can
Yeah, just
blacklist
teach
things,
it.
I can whitelist things, and I can send things to files. Like there's so much that you can do. It's all natural language. It's not that hard to do. Everybody in my firm would be scared to death to do that. I'm the oldest person in my firm. Like, I'm like, come on, guys, like keep up, keep up. So we're trying to bring all of that to light. I love doing it, but Litify was an incredibly difficult program to make work. It's just, Salesforce is a beast of a program. Litify was a problematic beast of a program. We have Litify. That's what we use. But now that we've got a hold of it and we get it, it's an incredibly powerful system to use. Like the amount of things that it can do when you know how to make it hum, it's like
Yeah.
owning a Ferrari. It's really strong. So I'm happy with that. But now we're trying to layer in a mail program foundation AI onto that. We're layering in some type of AI systems. I don't know what you're using for AI systems, but there was 2 choices, and now there's 10 choices, and now
There's
there's going to
so
be 20
many,
choices. I
so
mean,
many. And there's like,
yeah. So we're
from
trying
my,
to do
from
all
my
that.
perspective, there's just so many different AI products out there. But the way I've like to frame them for us is like, what specific problem am I looking to solve? And then find a tool that can do that problem, because they make a lot of promises, and the demos.
Huge number of promises that almost never are perfect, right?
Exactly. Demos are almost never real environments. It's like the smoke screen and the special effects that you see in the movies. It's like what you see in the demo and real life is different. We use Eve for our case management AI, and it's pretty fantastic. We do have
I
FBI.
can tell you,
FAA
I
is great.
love the Eve people. I think that
Yeah.
the people in Eve are really strong. So
The
I
product is
haven't
great.
chosen Eve yet because we haven't chose Eve, Supio, Even Up. Now there's a couple of others that are out there, but those are the 3 kind of big players. And now Litify has gone to Salesforce, and they have Agentforce, which we went to the Dreamforce. You know what Dreamforce is?
Mention?
It's
Yeah, yeah.
Salesforce's annual event. It's a crazy over the top event. Like you need 4 days to recover from 3 days of being at Dreamforce. It's a nutty thing. But
It's
they're
a
way
conference from
ahead
the
of
ultimate
where I
sales
thought they.
company.
Yeah, it is. It is. There's another one, HubSpot. Yeah, HubSpot is strong. I'll tell you another product that I like a lot if we're talking like products. I really like Case Status. I don't know if
Yes.
you're looking at that or using it, but
We're using
I've
it, and it's a
wanted.
fantastic tool.
It's so wonderful to have that connectivity to the client and make them feel like they're being heard. Like
Yeah,
just
it
the
elevates the
NPS
experience.
score. Yeah, it's just great. You elevate that client experience, and that's been very important to me to try to get us to elevate the client experience.
And the NPS score, it just helps you identify problems so much faster. I mean, I just refresh something on my dashboard, and I see NPS of, below 5. I'm like, what's happening here? And it's easy to solve those problems before they turn into bigger things.
Really, really. We part of our practice is a social security practice, and I'm dying to get. We haven't gotten the case status system into the social security practice yet, and I'm dying to get that done because I think that's going to drive so much good feelings from people that are so hard. Like
Yes.
we have a bunch of 1-star ratings that are 100%, almost universally 100% are people in SS who are mad at us because it's taking 2 years and we can't do anything to stop it. And they think that like we're
It's
intentionally
your
not
fault.
moving the
Yeah,
case forward and it's our fault because we're the messenger. Like they're killing the messenger. So it's like this firm does nothing
that's
forever
right.
and they don't do anything. I'm like, we've done everything we could do.
It's
Like
not
stop
true.
giving
Yeah.
me 1 stars. It's not my fault. So I'm feeling like with case status, I'm going to have a system that is going to feed them continual updates and feed them infographics and feed them surveys and feed them news blogs and feed them some fun videos. Like just pay attention to the bright shiny tea and don't be mad.
Yes.
So
Yeah. See, we're
that's my
talking
hope.
to you.
Yeah.
So all of your practice groups on Litify, or do some,
All
waiver
are
off?
on Litify.
Oh,
All are
nice.
on Litify. So work comp SSD PI, and we have a medical collection practice called PIP. I don't know if you're
Yeah.
familiar with what PIP is, but we have a PIP collection practice as well. And so all 4 divisions are on that.
Did it take you a long time to get on? Our Salesforce journey was two and a
It
half
was
years long.
awful. It was awful. It was so awful. I mean, and I tell people this because it never should have taken this much, but all told, between my first iteration, my second iteration, my third iteration, it was over $800,000.
Wow. I mean, that sounds about right, you know? Because one problem from the beginning I didn't really realize is switching case management systems isn't just switching case management systems. It's a revamp of all of your standard operating procedures.
An
How you do,
entire
how
OS.
you think about it
Yeah.
even, you know?
Yeah.
So
100%. 100%. You're right. That's a better way of thinking about it. It's not case management. It's revamping your entire operating system.
correct. And so from that lens, I feel like, the second, third round of when we do this again, it'll be easier, but yeah.
So I don't know, just to talk philosophically for a minute, but with the advent of AI, right, we have these case management systems. Case management systems are programs designated to organize data so that you can segment large data sets by client identifiers and all of the things that attach to that client identifier, right? So we use
Correct.
socials, maybe you have an internal client number, whatever it is that you use as a client identifier, right? And we used to need to put them in objects to understand what they were. So 295-617721 is a social security number, not mine, by the way. And I made it up. And it's in a box, right, that says social security number, so that the computer knows it's a social security number, right? But the box has to be labeled, the object has to be labeled, everything has to be super labeled, right? And so everything is subject to whatever human error happens or computer error happens, putting the information into the labeled box. AI doesn't need any of that. AI just needs a giant ocean of data. And you plug your data into this giant ocean of data, and it should be able to go in and through an identifier, pull every little thing out in that thing, look through it, give you what you need out of it, explain it, talk about it, show you it, give you the document, give it whatever it is, without needing all of this object-driven systemization, which means that I think relatively soon, all these operating systems that we just put a ton of money into are going to be obsolete.
So I've thought about that before, but I don't know if those systems become obsolete or they become kind of a super tool because the data is just all better organized and exists
Yeah.
in, the Salesforce universe
It's a
of
good
data,
question.
you know?
I call that the ocean of truth, right? Like you have one system of truth. And so the question becomes, can you dump all of your data into kind of a big holding tank and make that your ocean of truth and have it be sacrosanct and clean? Or do you need to clean it in a better way so that it calls it out and stops, it would allow for lower incidences of mistakes being made or hallucinations or made up facts because the ocean of truth is more clean. So you might be right.
Who knows?
At one point,
It's so early in this journey.
I thought data centers would die because we would only need like 10 data centers for the big companies that are holding all the data, and then everything else would not need data centers. And I thought that like 10 years ago, and God, was I wrong there. I should have been investing in data centers forever, I just
And
talked to a guy last night that builds data centers for a living, and he got into it like 15 years ago. He's a gazillionaire. He just bought
in the gold
150-foot
rush.
yeah, boat. Like he showed me his ocean liner, literally his own personal ocean liner. He was like, "Oh yeah, I just got this boat," and he used it at Monaco. He was like, "I was on it at Monaco." It's like, "Yeah, thanks. You didn't
Gold
invite
rush of
me."
data centers. It's good.
So
Yeah. And like, to your point, who knows? We're so early on in the game.
yeah,
These products are changing, by the quarter. They're getting better. And, do you have Agent Force deployed at all? How do you feel about that?
we haven't deployed Agent Force. We were going to deploy it, and then we pulled back because in the Litify system, right? They started to come out with this. It was like Supio Lite.
Yeah.
So they were like, "Oh, we have Supio and it's going to be native inside our system. Look at that." So we started to look at that, and it was nice. And then Supio came to us and says, "Oh no, but you can do Supio out of it, and it's even better." So we started to look at
Of
that.
course.
And then Eve came along and said, "Don't do anything." But the whole time I've been using EvenUp. So I have Ray over here talking about EvenUp, and I've got the people over at Supio.
Yeah.
So we haven't done anything, and they keep calling us and be like, "What are you going to do? When are you going to do it? When are you going to do it?" And I'm like, as soon as I get case status done. So my excuse has been, and it's
Nice.
been true. I mean, it's been an excuse, but I want case status to be right before I go and implement the AI system. And honestly, I've been thinking that the AI systems are changing so fast. I'm wondering who's going to shake out,
Yeah. Because the The market might look different next year for sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we'll probably choose before next year, but third quarter, we're targeting this year in the third quarter,
Good
probably around
choice.
October, November, like making a choice and then implementing it in January or February next year.
My feeling is no matter what choice you make, man, it's only going to be for the better for your firm, your clients, and like the efficiency of the practice. I mean, these tools are unbelievable. What you can do with them.
Yeah. I mean, we're still using them. I mean, we still
Yeah,
have,
of course.
we got Copilot was a program that you could sequester without any extra cost. And so we were using that internal to our system. And now they charge you per seat for that. They were like, oh, we can charge per seat. So we got screwed that way. But yeah, so we're using that on the per seat basis. We were going to use Claude or Grok or Perplexity or something, but all those costs were higher. And because we're using systems internal to Copilot, we decided we'd use that.
Nice.
So we're still using it. We just haven't integrated into Litify as a seamless integration.
Yeah, and that just might be the shiny, the fancy object thing. Ultimately, if you got a tool and it works.
I just think that they have to start lowering the price on these things because, for example, I know a law firm that went onto Claude Code and they built their own program, not Litify, but another case management program. And they designed it based on that case management program that they were using. And they did it all in Claude Code. And then they told their case management system, we don't need your product anymore. Thank you very much. And they got off and they saved 180 grand a year. They're going to spend 15 or 20 grand on total costs being in their own program in Claude Code. And they've got a guy in their computer system that can work it and make it work. And they feel like it works equivalently. Their staff was so convinced that it was almost the same program and just an upgrade of it that they were like, it looks identical.
That's incredible. Wow.
Yeah. I think that they may run into trouble. So I don't know, but we'll see.
Yeah, because once the guy who knows how to troubleshoot the system leaves, then what are you going to do?
Yeah. Well, it's a good question, but if you haven't coded in Claude Code, it's not really that hard to learn. It would take
Ask it some questions.
It would take a guy that understands Claude Code, a woman who takes whatever Claude Code. It would take them a day, 1 day of training, and they probably could understand the whole system.
Yeah, look under the hood. It's a new era for sure.
It's a new era. That's exactly right, Harry.
Brian, you're the man. Thank you for this conversation. Thank you for giving.
It was fun.
Yeah, it was a good time.
I dig your sign. Harry handles it. That's
Thanks,
a great name.
That's all I got going for this one.
That works. That works, dude.
So great conversation. Tell our viewers how they can find more information about you, your firm, send referrals your way, and all the good stuff.
Thank you. Please do. And I'm here for you. If you want to send referrals my way, my last name is LaBovick. My first name is Brian. You can email me at brian@labovick.com. That easy. Labovick.com is our URL. You dial 866-LaBovick. You'll get me. You can dial 561, which is our area code in Palm Beach, 888-8888. That works too. So yeah, easy peasy. And I'm the only LaBovick lawyer in the country. So
nice.
Actually, that's not true. My wife is my partner. She's a LaBovick, so that's true. And my daughter just graduated law school this year.
Congratulations.
And so she is now a lawyer and super proud of her. She wants to be a transactional lawyer. She wants nothing to do with litigation at all.
In due time.
Got a spectacular job at Sidley Austin. So they got lucky because she's a killer. Thank you.
Awesome, Brian. Thank you so much. Looking forward to the next one.
Absolutely. Peace. Be well. Stay safe.